All right, so today we are answering ChatGPT questions. Question number one. What's a personal story or experience that captures the essence of overcoming the fear of failure? Oh man. I think before most big things I've tried, and tried really isn't a good word, most of the big things that I've set my mind to, I've had an intense fear of failure. And it's wrapped up in all the usual stuff. Looking bad to everybody, feeling like a fool, feeling embarrassed, feeling like I'm not good enough. But overcoming it, God, such a good question. I'm not sure how much of it is genetic, how much of it is just personality, how much of it is upbringing. Big five personality is what I meant when I said personality. How much of it comes through osmosis, meaning examples, like you see people doing the things that you want and you absorb that, like, man, yeah, I want to do that. And maybe it's all of it. But unfortunately, what's behind what I just said is the possibility that just not everybody can do it, which I think is actually the case. And I say that because I had the unique opportunity of going to and graduating from Special Forces selection, which is designed to winnow people out. It's not there to, produce, everybody's not a winner, right? Definitely not. And so many guys dropped for a variety of reasons, injuries. But I remember one particular incident. We were about halfway through. Everybody's hurting. I mean, I was hurting bad. I had I was going to say a skin flint. Sorry. Jeez, no. I had a large lump on my shin splint, like an actual shin splint, which means there's this raised red hot lump on my shin. Limped my way over to the medics. They're like, yeah, that's a shin splint. I said, probably what happened is your tendons worn away the sheath and it's gotten inflamed. I said, you might snap it. If you do, maybe we can reattach it. And then he just sat there looking at me. And I only had one question. I said, you kicking me out? He said, nope. I said, great. Can I get some Motrin? He said, no problem. He gave me my little bottle of Motrin and I took off. Got back to the Quonset hut where like my little group was living in. And there's this officer from the Ranger Regiment, tabbed Ranger, so obviously what we would call high speed in the military. He's pulling off all of his equipment. And this was a long time ago, so we didn't have the, great, slick carriers and all that. We had what were called LBEs, which was this really rough nylon belt. And if you were carrying a backpack or a rucksack, like the rucksack, most of the guys would arrange things so the ruck actually was resting on that belt to keep it off of your body directly, or at least to keep everything, into one area on your body. Well, this dude obviously was chafed. Well, he put moleskin across his back. Dude ripped it off, not thinking that the sweat had gotten into the moleskin, into his skin, and the skin got soft. He literally tore off like the top layer of his skin. So now he's got this rectangular, no skin thing on his back. And I'm watching this happen. I was like, dude, that sucks. And he turned around and we locked eyes for a minute and I just saw it. He broke. Like, for whatever reason, that was the injury that was too much. Right after that, I went into the showers, limped my way to the showers. It was like all of us guys that were super broken got the cold showers because everybody else could like physically get there faster. And there was this guy who transferred over from the SEALs. He had broken bones in both of his feet and he was on cleaning duty. there was a locker. So the lockers were, I don't know, maybe 6'6". Cause I'm about 6 feet tall. They were above me, but you had to reach to get it. And this dude was shorter than I was. And he's like bunny hopping. I'm thinking, surely you've got a better vertical than that. So I walk up, made a little bit joke. He's like, yeah, man, broke bones in both of my feet. And I was like, dude, let me help you. Grabbed it down. And we just got to talking. I was like, man, broke both bones. Where are you from? And he's like, well, I was on the SEAL teams, but, I got married and been married for 6 years. I was on the team for 6 years. He's like, I saw my wife like 6 months and 6 years. So he was going special forces to see his wife more, but still do the things he wanted to do. My other point is, these are the people that I've been around for a lot of my professional career. So it's like, why could I continue? And I couldn't lift my foot up. Like, it was dead because it was injured. So I'm like hobbling around. This dude was worse off than I am with 2 broken feet. He was still continuing. The other guy decided not to. It's like, so the overcoming the fear of failure has different shades of meaning, different shades of experience for me. And so you've got the fear of failure when you start something, then you've got the fear of failure as you're going. Right? So it's not like you overcome it once and you're done. It's that it's always going to be there. And I think sometimes, especially with YouTube, you've got all these keyboard ninjas that really haven't done anything like that for real. Like, they haven't done real stuff like that. And I got to say, I mean, as much as I like, SEAL Fit and those kind of things, it's like, I'm sorry, it's just not the same. It's not the same. So going through stuff for real is how you, over time, overcome fear. Psychology backs this up. Exposure therapy is one way to look at that. So if you've got a fear of cold calling people, you grind it out, pick up the phone, do more cold calling, which I can tell you, like, when I think of getting on the phone, there's like this, when I'm even talking about cold calling, there's a little tinge back there for whatever reason. So it's not like I don't do it. I certainly don't enjoy it. There's also a certain layer of, is that, highest and best use? But I also don't want to use that as an excuse. So part of overcoming fear is recognizing, I think, where you've got a fear, and where the fear is stopping you, and where it's going to be beneficial for you to understand, okay, this is going to be emotionally uncomfortable, probably physically uncomfortable, and you're going to do it. Breaking it down into smaller steps. Like, okay, if I've got enough fear of cold calling that I'm not picking up the phone, okay, all I need to do is make one call. That's all I'm going to do. If that doesn't work, keep backing it up. It's like, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to look at the phone. Break it down into the smallest increment that you can, and then add onto it until you can actually do the thing, and then do the thing until, I don't want to say it becomes second nature, because it might not, but at least it becomes something that you're able to do consistently. All right, question number 2, fear of missing out. Can you share an example of how you turned a missed opportunity into a stepping stone towards success? Oh my gosh. Bet that's like business life. The one that pops into mind, me and a crew were going after an acquisition, and it was a sizable acquisition. Company was dropping about $20 million to the bottom line, which you can kind of do some multiples. This is like $150, $180 million acquisition, somewhere in there. And looking back on it, so what I was thinking through is, missed opportunity in some respects sounds like something that it's like, oh man, I got there too late. Like, it's out of your control. What I'm going to focus on is a missed opportunity that was fully, no, because that's outcome based. So much of like what's implied in this question is outcome based, right? It's like, if I had only done a certain number of steps, the outcome would have been certain. And the Bible is really clear about that. There is no recipe. God has set things up so one thing does not follow the other. I saw it said on Twitter, here are my winning lottery numbers is the quote. And then under it, successful entrepreneur telling you how to be successful. And that quote encapsulates a very clear scriptural mandate and methodology. Like there's nothing about the world that's going to give you steps to guarantee an outcome. So let's get that straight right up front. Back to the case study. So the example, the missed opportunity was not being aggressive enough, letting my own negative self-talk, my own insecurities, my own fears and doubts and disbelief, to take a quote from the Matrix, get in the way of going after the deal. Even to the point where I was having a call with a banker, and the one thing you never do with a banker or any investor is express doubts. You just don't do it. They don't want to hear it. It's like everybody knows there's no guarantees. What they want to know is that you are unreasonably confident, unreasonably enthusiastic about the deal. And I didn't do that. It's like, well, what kind of problems do you see? And I was like, oh my gosh, problem, blah, 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 blah. And I just went on about it. And I had this weird dichotomy where, as I was saying it, the mentor who hammered that into my brain is in my head, pounding the table. Never, never, never express a doubt. Never. Wild doubts are coming out of my face. So that missed opportunity, and we missed it, or we took too long. Another bidder came in, just outbid us. Our team was shaky in the sense that we definitely could have made it more robust. So that definitely was a concern of mine, and I didn't bring it up because the deal was brought to me. I was the guy that was talking to the bankers and kind of facilitating the thing. The other two guys I was in with honestly didn't really contribute a whole lot to that process. One was so new, he contributed nothing to any of the process. He was just kind of there observing, and in some cases getting in the way. But my I'll call it co-founder, definitely had input and done well once the acquisition was done in making sure the company was running and all that. But also not so much. Like he was not a true COO. So some of that was there, right? Where I realized as we were going through it that we didn't have the full complement of the people that we needed. Like we needed a CFO, needed a COO for sure. The guy I was running with could have sufficed as the CMO. I could have sufficed as the CEO, maybe. Again, based on what I'm saying, maybe. And so it was all of that. All that went into that missed opportunity. And so how did I turn that into a stepping stone? Well, by just being real, man. I mean, that's pretty raw, what I just gave, like that assessment of myself. I think a lot of people today would be like, oh man, you don't have to be insulting. It's like, I'm not insulting myself. That's just the reality of it, dude. I was too weak, too insecure, too caught up in my own negative stuff going on in my brain. And I did not stick to the principles of business. So I think it's important for, especially if you're younger, I'm 51, especially for those of you that are younger, that grew up in an age where everybody got a medal, everybody's okay. It's like, dude, you're probably not. You're probably not okay. Your performance probably sucks. And the only way you are going to be able to use something as a stepping stone is if you acknowledge that and you own it. Not in a bad way. It's like, if you got like that feedback from me, I wouldn't be giving you that feedback in an insulting way. Like I'm not trying to be insulting to the two people I was working with. I'm not using their names, obviously, because this is not like a raving testimonial, but it's just an assessment. It's a realistic assessment of what everybody brought to the table, what our performance was, and how both of those things merged together to facilitate success or to hinder success. So I think that process has got to be in your repertoire. Otherwise, you are going to be at the mercy of that cycle, right? So it's like a quote from Tommy Boy where, he had a air freshener on him. He's in the elevator, pulls it off. The business guy is like, great. Now the solution is wash it out, right? Because it's like, what stinks? Oh, it's just this air freshener. Now you've identified it, wash it out, right? It's today people are like, oh, dude, you don't have to be so harsh. It's like, stop it. Just stop it. Question number 3. What advice would you give to someone struggling with the fear of not meeting expectations? That's actually a really good follow-up. Yeah, I mean, maybe that fear is in place for a reason. I think sometimes I shouldn't say we, because I don't look at it this way. I think sometimes the conversation that we have around emotions like fear or doubt is that they're bad. That's not the case. So God gave us these emotions to serve as an impetus. It's who we are. It's how we actually do things in life. I say this in my sales and marketing training. It's like, unless you are creating emotion in your writing and in your content, in your conversations, the people that you're interacting with are not able to make a decision. So that you need to be able to evoke emotion in people. So don't, like it says, someone struggling with fear. Okay, first of all, understand that struggling is probably going to be hindering you, right? Because that is a fight, right? It's like, oh man, this fear, I got to get away from it. Instead of letting that, as I got all tight, right? So it's like you got this fear kind of crunching you in. It's like, if you relax, I'll give you an example. We used to do an experiment, like if somebody had you in a bear hug, right? One way to get out of that, this is difficult to do. I wouldn't suggest, this is not like a impromptu self-defense lesson, but we would mess around. And so somebody would put us in a bear hug, right? So they wrapped up our arms. We would push as hard as we could and then just go totally limp. Almost every time you just fall out of it. Well, why? Well, because that person, like, they have this weird thing where they go like that, right? Because you push, they're pushing, but then when you go limp, it's like their weird reaction is to go back away from it. So it's an illustration of that concept, right? Keeping in, again, the struggle. We're talking about a fight. Bruce Lee was like, be water, my friend, right? So what does that mean? Does water struggle? Oh man, you go ahead and punch some water. It's not struggling. It just moves out of the way. So that I think is a valuable concept, difficult to do in practice. Because in the last couple of years, had more opportunities to be literally, we have this phrase, gripped by fear. So that's that bear hug where it's like, no matter, I'm limp and it's just getting tighter. It's like, okay, that was not a good idea. Then of course, deep breathing helps. Like, let's get super practical. So, that kind of breathing where you're like, even just doing it right now, I can feel my nervous system start to relax. I'm feeling it in my body. That's one way to do it. Talking can do it for some people. Again, it's got to be the right. Why did I say again there? I don't think I brought that up. It's got to be somebody that you can be vulnerable with. It's got to be somebody that you can trust, which it seems like is a rare thing these days. So that's where I would give that kind of advice. Number one, depends on how tight that grip of fear is. Number one. Number two, acknowledge that fear is trying to tell you something, and something beautiful and useful, right? Your brain is giving you information. Understand that is its goal. Its goal is not there to truly harm you. In fact, most of the time, your brain is detecting harm down the road, and it's using that fear as a way to stop you, right? It's that fight or flight, to either stop you, which would be freeze, fight, flight, or freeze. So you stop you, like, fear, which would be like, let me get out of here, let me run away. So it's like, okay, we need to slow down, we need to regroup, like, whoa, what's going on? or fight, that's where the struggle, right? That's where you need to maybe push through. All of that is really beneficial in the sense that it's there as a tool. Greed. How can you convey the idea that striving for success can be a force for good, benefiting both you and those around you? Well, again, I think from the standpoint of emotion is useful because we can make decisions. Now it's funny. The heading on this part is the greed for success. Let me read the question. Is it greedy to want success when others struggle? No, it's ambition. Okay, so now we're into like semantics, and one person's greed is one person's ambition, right? So some of this is going to be based on worldview. As a Christian, I think Christians have this all twisted because it's not, money is not the root of all evil. Sorry, you have that wrong. You're misquoting the Bible. It's the love of money. And I have met people who have literally said, I love money. That's the root of all evil. Now, why is that? Well, it's because you're putting your desire, your focus, your emotion, your intent, everything into an object which has immense value to other people. And so you will wind up using that for evil. Well, what is evil, right? We could get into that whole debate. From a biblical example or biblical standpoint, it's really pretty simple. Everything that's not God is evil. Unfortunately, that's not like really workable. And so then we get into like, what's my opinion of evil? What's your opinion of evil? Which I don't think is useful. So I'm going to end, I'm going to end that little thread there just to give you maybe something that you can pull on and think about on your own. But so I know that the striving for success in and of itself has really nothing to do with greed. Because what greed in my mind says is you've gone too far, right? So what would be too far? An example of this would be a parable that Jesus told about a man who had all this wealth, which back then it was crops, right? So he had this bumper crop. He's bringing all this grain. And he's like, oh man, I'm just going to build bigger barns and I'm going to store this up, right? So that didn't go well for the guy, because in the parable, God tells that man, you're dead. Well, what use then is storing up the stuff in the barns? So what the parable illustrates is some of what we're talking about. It's like, what are you really heaping all that stuff up for? And I think what it should cause us to do is think more holistically about our plans. So it's like, okay, you want to go build this monumental business. Everybody these days seems like throws around, oh, billionaire. I want to be a billionaire. It's like, dude, you've got no concept of what a billionaire is, how to get it. I'm not necessarily saying that I do 100%, but I've got like little glimpses of it. And trust me, that's not you, right? It's just not. Could it be you? Yes. And we can talk about that later. But I've found generally the billionaires never set out saying, oh, I'm going to be a billionaire. It's kind of interesting. And I think what that equates to is they just put their heads down and worked. They were lucky, like Gates, like Jobs, like Zuckerberg, like Ellison. Yeah, all them dudes was lucky. I don't care what you say. You just can't convince me otherwise. They were lucky. Meaning they were in the right place, right time. Like they caught it, as they say, before the curve. They had a successive set of decisions and outcomes that facilitated the growth, because there were all kinds of people that were coming up at the same time that now are in the waste bucket of business. So they got lucky, right? So a big part of getting to that massive level of success and wealth happens to you. But I think the striving for success in that way, like I want to go be a billionaire, causes problems because it takes your eye off of what's really important. And I'm guilty of this. The last failure that I had, I took my eye off of my feet. Right? So the way the Bible describes it is that the scripture is a lamp to our feet. And what that implies, like it's really dark and I've got a light source that doesn't go out into the world. It's like it's a lamp, like basically on my feet. So that means if I'm going to use that, I've got to like inch my way forward. Let's really dig into this. So if I'm inching my way forward in business, what does that mean? It means I'm literally focused on, okay, what's right in front of me now? Now, it's not to say I don't plan. It's not to say that I don't have a goal. Like it's not saying you don't know your destination. Yes, you have an objective, but the path there is completely dark. So you've got to, and it can't be lit. Right? There's nothing that's going to show you what's out there. So what the scriptures are telling us is we need to keep our head down. We need to work on the stuff that's right in front of us. Sales, marketing, systems, process, leadership, people, the basics. And we need to execute that day in and day out. And yes, every once in a while, we need to like get with our team and say, okay, we've got this objective out there. Since we're all looking down at our feet, let's now, kind of look up a little bit and say, okay, does it look like we're getting to where we want to go? So I think sometimes we're so focused on needing to see the exact path. Right? I can't tell you how many times people ask me, oh, Maseo, what's the best way? Fill in the blanks. Like, dude, there's no best way. There are methodologies, and you need to interact with the marketplace and see if those methodologies work, brother. I mean, or sister, that's the only way to do it. So striving for success can be a force for good in the sense that you are going to start developing the habits and disciplines to stay focused on what's right in front of your feet. You're going to develop the habits and the abilities to pop your head up, interact with the people around you, which might be on a daily basis, but keep them engaged, have them check in like, hey, are you seeing we're getting where we're going? Are you seeing we're getting where we're going? Okay, good. We all think, oh, wait a minute. You think we're not. Oh, what do you mean? Like, what are you saying? Well, when I'm putting my feet forward, like, I don't know, man, like this path looks like gravel. And according to our plan, we should be on concrete. It's like, holy crap. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's go retrace our steps. Did we maybe, man, back here 3 steps, we saw like the corner of concrete, but we took this right turn and now it's all gravel. Okay, well, let's back up to where we saw the concrete. What side was the concrete on? It was on the left side. Okay, let's turn a little bit, not too much. Okay, you see more concrete? Okay, let's inch forward. More concrete? Yeah. Okay, let's turn a little bit. Oh, no, there's more gravel. Okay, turn back. Okay, so now what have you done? You've seen, okay, the concrete is this little strip of concrete. It's not this big thing. It's this little strip. Okay, now we have this little strip. Okay, let's tiptoe on the strip. I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's where striving for success can be a force of good. Let's break that down. What was that? What that was a process of building based on an understanding, right? So what did I mean? I mean, you've got to have an understanding that your habits are going to dictate what you do on a daily, hourly, weekly, monthly basis, right? Those are your habits. We all know this. We've seen it, Atomic Habits, which my problem with Atomic Habits is it doesn't drill down to this level, which is probably because, James wants to sell you crap on the back end, which I mildly take exception with, but we'll leave that for another show. The habits that you have to cultivate are these practical habits. It is the habit of looking down and focusing there, and the habit of telling yourself that looking down and focusing there at your feet is a good thing. The habit of picking your head up, talking to your team, getting their feedback, valuing their feedback, encouraging them to grow. It's like, oh, dude, man, the guy or gal that said, oh man, back here we had the gravel and the concrete. It's like, I don't know how you did that. That was awesome. Do more of that. Like, what do you think? Can like we get you more resources? Like, can we get you more education? Do you need more? Like, do that better, faster? And then somebody pops in and was like, hey, can we make our own concrete? Oh, I didn't even think of that. Dude, who wants to go make the concrete? Well, I guess I can go figure it out. Can we do that? What are you doing? Can we offload that onto somebody else where you go learn to make more concrete? Getting into a habit of doing that, like that ideation and iterative process with your team, getting into the habit of growth, of looking at yourself in an unvarnished way and getting in the habit of, when you do that, saying, man, I'm so glad I figured out X, Y, and Z limitation is there, because now I can go figure out how to get it. So that would be the habit of acquiring knowledge, the habit of being curious, the habit of asking questions, the habit of recognizing, oh man, I feel embarrassed to ask this question, and then having the courage to ask the question anyway. Having the habit of the beginner's mind, like thinking, okay, let me just pretend like I don't know. If I didn't know anything, how would I approach this? Or even going and finding someone who doesn't know anything and doing something like an exercise with them, where you're talking to them about the thing, like, hey, you want to do this thing? Got a lot of experience in that. Like, what questions do you have? Oh my gosh, I'm confused about this and I'm confused about that. They're going to like bombard you with all sorts of things that they're confused about. And then also getting in the habit of listening. Like, maybe they're not asking you questions. Maybe what they're doing is telling you about their life and their day and their dreams and their aspirations and some of the problems that they have. If you get in the habit of listening, like, what's below that? So like, what does this person want? What are they after? You know, if I was a newbie in their position, what experiences did I have as a new person where they are? And how do I reflect that off of myself? So that's the habit of monitoring what's going on in your brain as somebody is talking to you, and then utilizing that so you can speak into the situation with your experience. So instead of giving them advice, oh my gosh, the habit of telling them a story was like, man, I'm so glad you said that. I remember when I was getting started, and then just tell them the story. Like, I had these problems and I overcome them. Like, the way I look at it now is fill in the blank. All of that goes into striving for a success can be a force for good when you're not in love with the money. Right? So if you're in love with the process, which is what I just broke down, and I struggled with this for so long, was the process. How do I fall in love with the process? Like, you've got to have a habit. Well, part of that is by doing what I'm doing now, by giving back to others, by coaching others. Now, some of that's not good, which I'll get into that in another show, but it's definitely something that I find is useful for me. So being in the habit of doing these kinds of videos and producing them, even if it's just a repository, I mean, who knows if anybody's even going to see these videos. Anyway, so all of that, how do you convey the idea that striving for success can be? How does it get to that level of can be? I think that's a particular way. Which actually goes into question number 5. Can you provide examples of how acts of love and caring have positively impacted your career or business? I don't know if I need to go into that so much, because I think gave one. Let me think about it. The world. I mean, ChatGPT actually is pretty cool. So in the world of business, love isn't just an emotion, it's a strategy. Love for your work, your team, your customers can drive incredible growth and success. How do you show love in your professional journey? Yeah, I'll expand on that a little bit, because I think, we as English speakers have a really crappy language, because we can love tacos and we can love our wife and we can love we can love our husband, we can love our children. And that's weird, right? Loving a taco, like, oh, I love tacos. Gosh, I love my kids. Right? When you say it back to back like that, it really doesn't make any sense. In the Bible, of course, there's the Greek words for love, phileo, agape, and I'm forgetting the third one. Who cares? Oh my gosh. All right. That was going to drive me nuts. Nope, I'm not going to do it. We're going to keep this free form. So we've got this concept in the Bible where we have different layers of love. And I would even say different categories, right? Because phileo is more relational, intimate, even sexual. I almost had the third one. And then you've got the agape love, which is brotherly, camaraderie, friendship. So there's categories in the sense that you can go deeper in those two categories. Obviously, this one doesn't belong in business, so we'll just move that off the screen and we'll talk about agape. I really love the book, The Trillionaire Coach. I've got a mentor who claims, a similar title, but I've got to say, comparing the two, sorry, Dan, that ain't you, brother. I mean, not by a mile. So the trillionaire coach is an actual trillionaire coach, unlike you, Dan, in the sense that he's coached the guys at Google, Apple, Microsoft, basically all throughout Silicon Valley. So these are people that are up to big things. And again, there's an implication with the book that and actually overtly said that without Bill, I believe his last name is Williams. I'm just forgetting it in the moment. That Bill, without Bill's contribution, perhaps Google wouldn't be around. And you know what? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Right? We don't know. I hesitate to put those kind of outcomes on it because what that does is it definitely sets up the expectation in the book. I call it a temptation because content producers like to associate their ideas and their methodologies with that external success because you, as a listener, are then going to equate that with what they say. And frankly, like I said earlier in this video, you maybe have to go to this is probably going to be a segment. You're probably seeing this as a segment. But that's not it, right? It's not that if you follow the trillionaire's coach advice, you're going to be as big as Google. It's just not that simple and straightforward. And so part of the expression of how I show people that camaraderie love is pointing out that reality. Now, unfortunately, in the sense that, if I was going to be a coach, that severely limits the audience because most people just don't want to hear that. Like, we really do want to believe that there is this lottery ticket out there that if all I could do is just get the right numbers, man, I would be successful. And I'm telling you, you absolutely can be. So my expression of that love is starting with reality. It's like, you can absolutely be successful. The magnitude of your success, dude, that's who knows. I'm making this video September 6th. It's a Wednesday. It's 10:13 a.m., 2023. And I'm of the opinion that we are going to head into a crushing recession, probably worse than what we saw in 2008, 9, and 10, just because that's the way cycles happen. Cycles have energy to them. And so if you get, a deep move down, you get a bigger move up, you get a bigger move down. It's like things go like that. That's how the physics works. And I get it. The Fed's trying to put shock absorbers on it and all those euphemisms. It's not going to work because they're knuckleheads. I mean, they just are. And everybody wants to say, oh, but Mateo, they've got all these degrees. I'm like, so what? All I'm saying is they don't know everything. And if you look at their track record, really, it kind of sucks because what they say that they're setting out to do, they never do. Like, never. Just do the research. I'm telling you, please just do the research. So if you start a business now, you're going to be going through some rough times. And there are going to be a lot of people that it just crushes them. Why? Well, because those people are setting out with this illusion that if they just do a certain amount of steps, they're going to be successful. So as they're going through those steps and this crushing recession hits, those things are no longer going to work. Well, they're no longer working because of the recession, right? People are spending less money, businesses are closing down, banks aren't lending. It's like there are going to be real reasons why business gets quote unquote tough. Just in general, right? There are obviously going to be areas that succeed. Like if you look back at 2008, 9, and 10, there were luxury brands which just exploded, and everybody's looking around like, man, why are these luxury brands really doing well? And some of it was because the people who were managed to pop out into the wealthy category were able to leverage, since they just popped out of the wealthy category, and everybody else is getting crushed. They're looking around like, well, might as well treat myself because like the economy kind of sucks, right? So there's some dynamics like that going on. What am I getting at? What I'm getting at, and by the way, this is I'm providing examples of how love and caring have positively impacted my career or business. Again, we want to start with the bedrock truth. How do things work really? And so this is an aspect of how I express my love for my fellow man. It's like there were a ton of businesses, especially real estate. A friend of mine named Charles had a real estate business that was just getting crushed back then. And I remember, man, he was doing super well. And then, he emailed me for a deal. He's like, oh man, I just need $1,000. And I emailed him back. I was like, Charles, man, like this $1,000 cannot be meaningful for you. Like, dude, help me understand what's going on so I can really contribute. Because, like if you need money for groceries, I got no problem with that. Like, let me come beside you, give you what you like need to meet your needs, if that's what you need. And then let's build some business. And I never heard from him again. So I don't know if he took that insulting. I really don't know. That's another example of how I would express love for somebody, love and caring for somebody in business. It was practical. It wasn't like I was trying to rescue him. It wasn't like I was going to say, hey man, let me pay your mortgage for the next 6 months. But it was like, hey dude, you need to let me know what you need and how you can get back on track, because I'm not doing so bad. Right, so let's come together. Part of why I wasn't doing so bad is I liquidated all my real estate in 2007. Why? Because right now, I saw the writing on the wall. So I would advocate the same thing for you. If you have money in the stock market, if you got money in real estate, if I were you, I would be going to as much cash as possible. Because initially, when these recessions hit, everything goes down. Just go back to 2007, 2008. You can go from chart to chart to chart. You will see everything got hammered, especially technology. So back then, to give you an example, I sold all my real estate in 2007, went short the market in October of 2007, actually lucked out, top ticketed is what they call it. Market literally never saw my price again for years. Rode that wave down. You always get like what they call a dead cat bounce or a fake bounce. Rode that, shorted again. And then in turn, when the market bottomed out on tech stocks in 2009, I turned around and bought in 2009. Now, how did I do that? Because I thought the sky was falling. I emailed my clients at the time like, oh my gosh, it's over. America's falling apart. Buy your guns, buy your money, buy your food. It's over. That's what I sent out to my clients. There were, I don't know, 30,000 of them or something like that back then. Went to bed that night, woke up thinking about a story that Kramer had put into his book. And ironically enough, just as an aside, Kramer wasn't the good trader. It was actually his wife, the trading goddess. So if you want to take trading advice, don't listen to him. Go find his wife. And what happened was he was telling everybody, sell, liquidate. He's breaking his keyboards, snapping his phones in half, like the maniac he was, maybe he still is. Meanwhile, his wife was actually calling people back saying, yeah, forget that. Let's buy more. So as the market's going down, just blowing out to the bottom, she's buying more. Right, so Kramer, all he's doing is panicking. He's panicking. Comes in the next day, he's like, what? I told you to sell. Why are we maxed out? She comes in, explains it to him. He's like, oh, how, and of course the market reversed back then. He's like, how did you know? And he's the way he tells the story, which who knows if it actually happens this way. He said, she whispered in his ear, because you broke. So that story ran through my mind. Woke up, first thing in my mind. I was like, I broke. Dude, we got to buy. Which I was short. I sold, right? So I'm like, cover, go long. I was like, what are the strongest tech stocks? This is my analysis. It's like, what are the strongest tech stocks? Apple, Amazon, Google. Buy them. Whatever they were. I'm like, what's the price? I went and looked at some options contracts. I bought slightly out of the money to get a little bit better leverage. I'm like, buy it, send out emails. Like, forget what I said. I told them that short story. I'm like, look, you have to reverse. Being a trader is all about doing what you need to do. This is absolutely what's going on. I was like, go look around. Everybody cracked. I cracked. This dude cracked. That dude cracked. Like all the pros have cracked. What does that mean? We're all short. And if we're all short, who's left to sell? Nobody. Nobody was left to sell. And this was March. Go back and look. March. It was 19th. There was a 9 in there. So it was either 9th or the 19th. I know it wasn't late enough to be the 29th. Go look. I could dig up my confirms. If you doubt me, if you want proof, give me proof. I haven't got videos. Sorry, just Get a kick out of the keyboard ninjas. Anyway, again, all this is an expression of how do I show love and concern? It's by starting with the way things really work. So when I was a trader, a very successful trader, everybody was asking me, Maseo, if you were so successful, why'd you leave? And I put that voice on it because that's the spirit I found that people ask that. There's not genuine curiosity. But I'll tell you anyway, well, I left it because a lot of the guys I was trading for like to kill babies, and I don't believe in killing babies, just to put it bluntly. And I found that like all of them, right there, I could not find a fund manager that did not believe in murdering babies. So I said, well, I need to go find something else to do, which I did. And to this day, people just like, man, I don't believe that. It's like, nobody walk away from that money. Well, you're looking at them. I've got no problem with walking away from money if something violates like a moral principle like that, for sure. So that's why. But part of what I did as I was training people to be successful traders was I dealt with it from a reality standpoint. Right? I told them, like, here's how the market actually works. But what people want is the lottery ticket, man. And so this goes all the way back to what I said earlier, which is, that my methodology limits the number of people that are attracted to me because I deal in reality. Most of the people who are going to listen to my voice fall into, by just general statistics, fall into the 80% of people that aren't going to do anything, are never going to do anything for whatever reason. Now, the 20% that are is, kind of who I appeal to. There's even a significant part of that 20% that are also looking for a lottery ticket. They're just looking for a refined lottery ticket. Right? So the 80% who have no intention of doing anything, those are the ones that blame people like me that are trying to teach and trying to educate, trying to coach. They'd like to blame us, right? Why? Well, first of all, because they're never going to do anything anyway. Because that's a useful scapegoat, right? It's a reason why they're not successful. Oh, it's because that guy, he's really a scammer. He's, they don't really do he doesn't really give any good information. But at the heart of it, like, they really don't intend to do anything. Now, in the 20%, the 80% of that, right, that are lacking in success. Because again, I'm not trying to I'm not reversing what I said earlier, right, which says, oh, there's no methodology. I'm not saying that. I'm saying these are the things that contribute to people not being successful, which for the big chunk of 80%, it's limiting beliefs, just in general. So now let's move them off the table. We're talking about the 20% who do accomplish things. And now let's look at the 80% of that group. The 80% of that group who aren't as successful as the 20% of that group, because now we're like down to like the 5% of the big group, right? I think that's how the math works. I haven't done it in a while. So the difference between the 5% like uber successful and the rest comes back to this notion that there's got to be a way. There's got to be a best way. And so because they're blind to realities and they're always grasping for something, they miss out. Let's walk through that a little bit more. So I think we're heading into a crushing recession. That means you've got to have more cash. You've got to pay down debt, rework terms, especially if you've got like commercial real estate or something where they can actually call the note and take the property from you. Start working things out now. Start getting maybe some private money where some people can shore you up. Maybe you go to your lender and say, well, how about if I pay down, to this level? Would that work? Right? So you bring in somebody else that's willing to sit under, that existing lender to pay their balance down a little bit, give up equity, give them a chunk of the deal, for a period of time. It's like, look, I'm not going to, you don't need to stay on this forever. That's not that, start out negotiating here. Like, it's not worth that to me, but I'll give you 50% for X amount of time plus payments, because I just want to make sure we're surviving. It's like, I don't desperately need the money right now. I just want to position myself for the future. And look, you want to do this with me because there's going to be more deals. Like, if we position ourselves properly, we'll be able to buy all kinds of stuff. Are you in? Yeah, I'm in. Okay. That's the way to negotiate that, or at least start there as you're talking to people. So going to cash, renegotiating terms, going out and bringing more resources onto your team. Talk to people. Say, hey, man, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity coming, but we got to band together and things are going to start looking bad. Don't worry about things looking bad. As long as we're good, as long as we're in cash, let's band together. Hey, what do you need? Are you paying your bills? Are you paying your bills? Like truly come together as a group, not in a way like you're just rescuing people. And yeah, I'm using that word because it's on my mind. Not that, I mean, I'm not talking about a commune necessarily, but it's that in spirit, definitely, where you can start to come together. And it's like, okay, let's say you've got somebody on your team, successful plumber, and as the economy starts going down, he's like, yeah, man, I'm starting to see my client load go down. Okay, group, who knows marketing? I do. Great. Tomorrow, from this time to this time, you and Steve over here, y'all are going to work on his marketing and you're going to start producing stuff. And then if Steve's like, yeah, but I don't have free cash for ads or direct mail, it's like, okay, work that out. Like, make an agreement. Okay, we're going to pitch in, we're going to put the money in to do the ads, but here's what it's going to cost. Here's how we're going to track it. Are you good with that, Steve? Like, it's going to cost you some money. So if you land a $5,000 account, you're not putting, and let's say 2,000 of that is profit, net profit. You're not putting that 2,000 in your bank account. Some of that's coming our way. Now, don't get greedy. Don't say we want half, because that Steve's just not going to feel good about that, right? So this is more like just how to be equitable among each other, be loving. It's like if you don't need the money, what just ran through my mind was the Jimmy Stewart movie where he's got the bank and it's collapsing. He's like, how much cash do you mean? That one old lady's like, I need all of it. He's like, do you really need all of it? Really? She's like, yes, I need it all. And he gave it to her. It's like, you need to get to that level where you're willing to confront each other. Like, do you really need that? It's like, dude, yeah, man, I do need it. Like, I got this coming due and this coming due and that coming due. And if you truly can rise to this level, you're going to see so much rocket fuel. If you can get to the point where, like me, like, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to pay my Amex. I'm not going to pay this card, that card, that. I'm going to go delinquent. I'm going to take that hit on my credit rating because we're all banding together. But you tell people, look, that's what I'm sacrificing. Like, what are you sacrificing? And if somebody, again, this is where you really find out what people are made of. Because if somebody's holding back, right? They got all the cash in the world. They got no debt. They really don't have a need for the money. They just want to heap it up. Goes back to the love of money. Like, if you love money, like, I have to, I got to heap it up. Like, I love you. Love you. Yeah, I need more. I love you. That's what it's going to be like. As if you're sitting and you have a ton of cash, maybe like, hey guys, you know what? Dude, I'm good. I don't need the money. We're all banding together. But I'll tell you what, if I'm not going to take the cash, I want a little bit more of the equity, right? I want more of the upside once this turns around. That's how you negotiate that stuff with each other. You be raw, honest, and vulnerable so people know like what the cost really is. And it's not to say that like if Steve needs the money, it's not a judgment on Steve. It's just that that's how he's positioned. He's at the place where he can't do it. And it's not a punishment to Steve. It's acknowledging what he's bringing to the table is the plumbing expertise. But he just admitted that his plumbing expertise isn't enough because his revenue's starting to go down and he didn't plan ahead so that he would have marketing as the plumbing business started going down. So Steve needs to acknowledge like, yeah, guys, you know what? I didn't plan for, or maybe he did plan. He's like, you know what? Things just didn't work out. I planned, I saved, but yeah, man, I mean, I need some help. Like before things get really bad, can y'all come in? Here's what I'm willing to give up. Again, it's not about Steve's wrong or, he needs to be fired or he's stupid. It's just the reality of it. It's just the reality of it. And so if you can come together in a group like that, in this next phase, I think just like so the stock market opportunities happened in 2009. The real estate opportunities happened in 2010. It's one of the things I'm kicking myself for. I had about $500,000 in cash, and I consciously thought, man, there's going to be a lot of opportunity in real estate. How do I go out and get it? I didn't stick with it. I didn't have a community that I could go to that actually knew it. I asked a few people, and they didn't really know. A couple of them were kind of internet marketing kind of people, so it was too marketing. It's like they wanted me to go to their event. I'm like, dude, I don't want to give you $5,000 to go to an event. Like, let's do some deals. Like, what? And I still, Mark, love you. Totally disagree with you. Were actually the dude, Mark. You, yeah. Now, Mark might be saying, oh, that's your limiting belief. I'm like, yeah. that's your internet marketing guru talking. Because if you break out of internet marketing, like you go into the real business world that I call it, nobody acts like that, right? If I call XYZ, real estate fund manager and say, hey man, I got $500,000, where can I deploy it? They're not going to say, well, step one is write me a check for $5,000 so you can come into my mastermind. It's not how that works, right? And those are the real $1 billion players, not you, Mark. Again, that's in love because it's the reality. Now, it's not to say Mark is not successful. Sometimes I crack myself up. It's not to say that Mark is not successful. It's that that model of come to my mastermind is only necessary when a big part of your business is catering to the 80%, which is why I don't do it, because I don't feel that I'm really serving people. Now, I unfortunately know that the 80% don't like probably anything that I've said because they feel like I'm blaming them. And I can't tell you this enough, probably. I'm not blaming anybody. And I understand that it feels like it, because in the right mindset, when people tell me this stuff, it feels like they're blaming me. I feel injured and hurt. And once I get over that and I start to self-examine, it's like, no, they were spot on. They were 100% spot on. And even that hurts. It's like, ugh, I don't like that because I'm competitive and I don't like that there's weakness and shortcomings. But in the end, it comes back to, how do I use that process that I just went through, being hurt, injured, whatever you want to call it, insulted, so that I can proceed. And this isn't necessarily being about, quote, thick-skinned, because that implies things just bounce off of you. To me, this is about being really, how do you become anti-fragile? And maybe that's the real title for this. Like, this is however long this video is on how to truly be anti-fragile. Like, what does that process actually look like? And Nicholas, you're too theoretical, dude. Like this video is uber practical. Like, how do you stepwise go through it so that you truly become anti-fragile? Again, example of how acts of love and caring have positively impacted my career and business. Because when I do share stuff like this and the right people see it, like what I just described, somebody like that example of the sort of business commune that I just described, the people that are into that, how could that not benefit my business to be around more people like that? Well, I would say, how could it not? Like, just being around people that are willing to go through that are willing to go away from a situation where maybe I did say something direct and they were like, oh, in the moment, like, oh, for goodness sake, oh. Then they go away and they're like, all right, you know what? He was right. He's just talking about how it was. And they can come back like, Maseo, you really pissed me off, man. I'd be like, oh, I'd probably say, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't mean to. And in the moment I really didn't. It's not like I say these things I'm trying to piss people off. Maybe sometimes. But then we can talk about that. It's like, oh, dude, you know what? I know, man. Like, after I said it, I realized I had this thing happen and that thing happen. And there was a bit too much edge on that. Like, I was lashing out and I was taking that opportunity to lash out so I could feel better. It's like, man, please forgive me. I apologize for hurting you. And, in that moment, I think I kind of did because I was feeling bad. I'm not going to cry, Roy. And then that person can be like, oh man, yeah, we're tight. Whew. We're all little kids, man. That's what's running through my brain. So how could it not benefit my business being around people that want to stand for that? And it's going to be rare. Like I said, if you take a cloud of people, you can chop it down to meet 80%. They're not even in it. Like, they are not going to do anything. You can literally just set them over here. Not that they're castaways, not that they're less than, but just that's who you maybe aren't going to want to focus on. Then you take that 20% and you realize you've got 20% of those they're going to be the rocket ships, uber successful. And you got 80% that are going to be very successful. And then you can decide, which of those groups, you're going to either appeal to or talk to or whatever from a business perspective. But then I also think, especially in this day and age where everybody's saying, oh, if you're 6 months ahead of the people you're talking to, then you can be a coach. Shame on you. Truly, shame on you. Because being 6 months ahead of somebody and you're charging them money for something, again, that's an expression of how I view loving people. That's not loving people. And one of the things that's been in the back of my mind is an expression of love. Again, it's from the Bible. Jesus said, greater love hath not a man than laying his life down for his friends. That's what I've been describing. Like, how can I lay my life down for people? How can I sacrificially do things for some people, right? So in a sacrifice means you're not expecting anything in return. You're just coming in and saying, here you go. Like, this is my offering. So that concept permeates my thoughts and my intention for even doing business. Like, I'd rather sacrificially give people things, but then a shade of it is back in Genesis where you've got Cain and Abel, right? So Abel gives his sacrifice is acceptable. Cain gives his sacrifice and it's not. So not everything is an acceptable sacrifice. So if you're out there offering your stuff up and you're like 6 months ahead, in my not so humble opinion, like, you need to keep that to yourself. Go do something first. Don't be 6 months ahead because you read some blogs or books somewhere. Be 6 months ahead from actually doing things. Now that, totally acceptable. So if you come in and you want to be a coach and you're like, hey, here's what I went and did and here's my results, totally on board with that. But if you're like, hey, I've been reading books for 6 months and here's what I think you should do, shame on you. Go do something, get some actual real life results, put your money on the line, put your time on the line, and then come back. Which, by the way, that's what I speak out of, is stuff that I put my time, money, crazy experiments on. Okay. Obviously, lots of examples and case studies there of how acts of love and caring have positively impacted my career and business. And to put a conclusion on that, because I do this often, like, I'm constantly pouring out and offering examples and case studies, like, the people that naturally gravitate to me, well, there's a lot of different kinds. But they are people that resonates with. And so as I've gone through business, those people have been able to come beside me, help me out when I needed help, contribute when I needed contribution, partner when I needed a partner, which actually Mark, he's probably never going to hear this. He also did that. Now, full story, which I apologize, Mark, earlier. The first mastermind, he did let me in for free, full disclosure. But again, the first step, it would have been better if the first step was, well, hey, Maceo, here you go. You can deploy $500,000 right here. Here are the ways. Here's how the deals were constructed. Which the mastermind, I get it, was trying to talk about some of those things, but it was not structured properly. Sorry, now the memories are starting to flood in. I'm not going to make this about the Mark and Maceo show. So all that said, first ChatGPT conversation, thought it went pretty well. Anything appealed to you? You know how to get a hold of me.